Oh yeah, welcome to another episode of Dark Skies News and Information, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, from the Bay to LA. And tonight we're talking about, well, the Mandela-effect. And are we living in a multiverse, simulated universe, digital universe? I mean, what can explain some of these changes? We're going to talk a little bit about that. Light them if you got them. You might need it. Make yourselves comfortable. You just found the #1 podcast in the entire multiverse. Dark Skies News and Information. And all the usual suspects are here. So, this is how we do it. We give you a chance to get yourselves situated. We'll do the same. And we'll be back in a few seconds. You know what we do. Oh my God. Mandela effect. God, it's like a fast going week. It's Thursday, and it's early morning. Everybody here joining us. This is a beautiful thing. I mean, it's like magic. Oh man, we're the #1 podcast for a reason. You. For downloads and sharing, the retweets, the love y'all give us. I mean, we've been around for a long time. I mean, we're not a new podcast. I mean, our template has been used many times by many people. And we don't mind because we feel like the more people that, gravitate towards, our style, our genre, our podcast, our delivery, it just says something. We're a very influential podcast, and many directors and shows producers, favorites, they'll listen to us and check out the way we do things and apply it to their more media driven platforms, and to much success. And I congratulate them and move forward with Dark Skies News and Information, because this is what we do. We reach the masses with new information, new news, talk about old subjects. We won't let it die. We won't bury the lead as we proceed to move forward. And it's crazy, y'all, because as we, get deeper and deeper into this Mandela effect research, it's become apparent that, something has changed. I mean, we talk about the memories and the Mandela effect and exactly what does it mean to be Mandela affected. And for, so many people, that just, gravitate towards this subject or just can't let it go, because it just seems like there's so much more there that's been, uncovered, or, a new generation may understand it better, or maybe the truth will come out if we just keep pounding it over their head. Kind of like the UFO conspiracy, and for many years that the UFOs flew through the sky. People were reporting it like, man, I seen something up there. I'm like, you ain't see shit. It was some swamp gas. Like, we was forced to believe it. Like that fool was seeing some swamp gas and thought it was a UFO. and some aliens. Like, did you see the aliens? Like, well, no. Then you saw swamp gas. See, it's easy to dismiss, the idiotic or the stupid or the dumb or the less than credible. It's so easy. But then many years later, our government said, attention, motherfuckers. We just want to let you know that there's some shit up in the sky that, we can't explain. We've been trying to catch up with it. It's too fast. We've been trying to, study it. It's unstudyable. We just know that it can do what we can't. And we've been trying, but nowhere close. It's faster. You can go underwater. I'm like, there's all kinds of shit that we need to just, let y'all know that, hey, we can't fuck with it. Whatever it is. And end of the subject. Anyway, but that's getting away from, this toilet of shit. As we get into the Mandela effect, it's a subject that's not very often covered. Most people kind of let it go because it's too complicated. Or you're unaffected. Or you don't see the changes. Or you don't want to see it. There's so many different reasons why this is not like the number one subject in all of humanity. The world should have shut down as soon as we found out that the Scarecrow had a gun in this universe. And I know that y'all thinking like, what? What you mean in this universe? I'm just saying that if it's a multiverse, then we're in another universe because the Scarecrow, in my memory, never had a gun. Matter of fact, in the story, The Wizard of Oz, I don't remember a gun being in that, movie, show, play. I just don't remember the Scarecrow having a gun. It's quite alarming, but quite incredible if you ask me, because I look at everything, from, a child's eye. And I ask myself that, is this a version that I've seen? Or is this the original version? But I thought I saw the original version. It's in my memory. Yeah, I remember the flying monkey. I remember the witch from the West. But it's crazy because we're looking at, things and they're different. From, Curious George not having a tail. From the tough-fanged deer. It's just things that, blows your mind. Wraps you up in a blanket of confusion. You can walk around thinking that you know shit. That's me. But then I look at the map and I say, oh my God, this shit has changed. But then you can't really articulate these things. Even me, one of the masters of articulation. And is that a group? The Masters of Articulation. Yes, I can articulate, my thoughts, on a grand scale. To the masses. But I can't explain to you why Starbucks one day, became Starbucks coffee. And I can't get people to see that, hey, there was a change. I can't even get Starbucks to see it. It's quite strange when you notice changes. You see changes. From color schemes to designs to logos. I always tell people that the Mandela effect is probably the most incredible thing that ever happened to humans. But we're too stupid to see it. If everybody was intelligent enough to, realize that, hey, it's something happening and it has not been explained. It's a current mystery that, nobody really, study. I'm one of the few people that continues to go back to the subject. I continue to look because I'm like, damn, the Monopoly man had a monocle. But, it's just like, I'm poking a dead horse. Flies flying around it and shit. And my friend's like, man, the motherfucker is dead. Leave it alone. I'm like, but how did it die? It's driving me crazy because I need answers. I want to know, what went down. But everybody seems to be, okay. Seems to have survived it. Doesn't bother them, right? It's no big deal, man. We as humans don't need to know the truth. Like, huh? Like, why the continents are different. Continents move, not without everybody on it dying. And it doesn't move like 7,000 miles. I mean, it's incredible when you start to realize, like, how hard it is to explain, why something happens when you can barely explain, like, what happened, or when, or where. Because, just like affects everywhere. And everything, You put 6 motherfuckers in the car, when you remember it being a 2-seater. Or, you remember 3 people in the car with JFK, but now you have extra row seats and extra riders. And nobody explain it. Like, who the fuck are these extra people in the car, when JFK got assassinated? And how come they wasn't arrested? Anyway, it's quite strange because, I remember so much. But I don't remember it being like, such clear color video of the incident. I'm like, this is brutal. I remember it being a black and white, kind of grainy film, but, you kind of see. Now it's like, man, it's like Disney Plus staff, recreate. I don't know. Was it recreated? Because it's so clear now, and I don't know. I didn't even know they had capability to film such beautiful picture and high quality, film back then. I mean, but it's incredible. I mean, it's close-ups. It's like the whole thing right there from many angles. I don't know. It's strange. All of it is strange because it's just not how I remember, and I have a above average memory. I tell people that, I can remember quite well. I mean, but it seems like I don't remember shit when I start to talk to people about some of the things that, I see and I can't account for, like in my memory. Like, I remember watching Looney Tunes growing up as a kid, and now it's Looney Tunes. And I'm like, there's a difference between cartoons and, tunes to you and yes, and I'm thinking music and ringtones or something, Looney Tunes. But no, it's the cartoons, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess. But now I guess cartoons never existed, or, we're thinking quantum computing, maybe a recreated universe, and maybe it was just done wrong. I don't know. It's hard to explain because why would you put Looney Tunes? Who would even, make that? But I guess we, are living in incredible times. And I tell people that we as a species are very lucky to be able to experience and be aware of, such things because, oh my God, look, we are living now. And we can see these changes, from some of us remembering Mandela dying and some of us seeing him live with a full life. It's fascinating and incredible, but words can't explain it. How deeply important, this event is because of what it means and what it could mean, going forward. So, man, let's take a quick break, man. I hope y'all got them in the air because the mandela-effect will blow your way. You listen to Dark Skies News and Information, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, for the Bay to LA. It's all yours, Becky. In deep, get the toe in it. I masterpiece like no limit. The homegirl said go get it. The big homie said go flip it. We in deep, head to toe in it. I masterpiece like no limit. The homegirl said go get it. The big homie said go flip it. There's no business like show business. Gotta be careful, keep your eyes on your riches. Only vote the richest. Suspicious niggas, fake bitches. And that's just for Christmas. I always said fuck the fame. Now they know the name. I love the game like some Novocaine. Cataract like I just stepped off a plane. Full of magic like I'm David Blaine. Drop my album, watch me go insane. I stayed in my lane, that's every rain. I Cinderella, like Dana Dane. Feel major pain, this shit is easy, man. We in deep, head to toe in it. I masterpiece, like no limit. The homegirl said go get it. The big homie said go flip it. So I flipped it. We deep in it, up to our heads. Suck on the nipple like I'm bottle fed. Fuck with me and see a lot of lead. Which leads to a lot of red. I'ma slide and count my bread. Keep my niggas dead while we watch for the feds. Take a hit up the block. Fuck it, I'ma take it to the head. Mix it with my meds. Another bitch in my bed with her legs spread. I'm in deep, head to toe in it. I'm Master P, like no limit. The homegirl said go get it. The big homie said go flip it. I'm in deep, head to toe in it. I'm masterpiece, like I'm no limit. The homegirl said go get it. The big homie said go flip it. This is the Hot Skies news and information coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, from the Bay to LA, and we are one of the realest, podcasts you're gonna find, on iHeartRadio. Also, we're on Spotify, and you can catch us on Castbox. Also, we, leave our live stream where you can just tap and join us here on Spreaker.com. Also, you can catch us on Twitter, and I believe our page on Facebook is still active. Do these social medias, and, supposed to be doing more on TikTok. I just, love doing the podcast. I love the radio format. I believe the theater of the mind is probably, the most spiritual way to connect with my listeners and my people who, follow the show and, love the content and the music and the information that we deliver on a weekly basis. And like I said, we try to do as many shows as we can because, the biggest complaint about Dark Skies News and Information is we don't do enough. Not enough shows. And I understand that. I spend a lot of time researching, mass amounts of topics, and cover such a wide range of content, and I try to, make sure, I stay fresh with my approach, because it's easy to, become redundant. People listen to your show and be like, oh, he's talking about the same thing. But the Mandela-effect, I'm never going to stop talking about it because I'm part of a community. Yeah, it's a community of people that remember things differently. And, there's nothing wrong with that, because when it comes to this subject, the Mandela-effect, I always tell people that this is the only subject that nobody's wrong. Everybody's right. If you remember a flat earth, then, hey, maybe you come from a flat earth. Can't deny your memory. Who am I to tell you you misremember. To me, I believe that's one of the biggest insults you can give somebody with a spiritual or a scientific mind. I have both, but somebody who don't have a problem remembering, like me. I mean, like I said, I have a above average memory. I can remember things, throughout my life that makes my life special to me. But at the same time, makes me understand my place in this universe, my place in this multiverse, as my memories don't always match, the current reality and the things that has happened in this reality. But me, being a historian, I will learn the history of a new universe. And I'll see the differences, and I'll see, well, okay, I remember it this way, this happened here. And I can see the changes, and I can see, the changes in just all things. And that's why I tell people it's such a incredible just event. An event that, transcends all parts of reality. It's almost like somebody had, a gauntlet with all the souls, because you could see changes in time, back in history. Things happen differently. From the JFK assassination to just, the spelling of people's names and events and dates. Thought it happened this time. I thought it happened this way. Thought Darth Vader said this, but here he said that. And you see the changes, and you start asking yourself, what am I experiencing? It's a quantum life. Is it really, me experiencing life on, a multiple universal level, as in I may be, remembering a life in a different universe or a past life, or maybe a current life that's experiencing a new universe where things just happen differently. Ford logo different. Coca-Cola. I mean, I can name so many different things that, appear to have changed. Well, just to me. But not just to me, but a whole community of people. Yeah, they're on the internet. They're on Twitter and Facebook. They're on YouTube. And some of them still do videos. Some of them look, bewildered. Because it's a massive challenge, to take in such information. Like, I've seen it this way. I know it to be this way, but now it's that way. And there's no accounting for it. There's nobody who needs to be accountable. I mean, your memory is your memory and your memory alone. Nobody can change that. I mean, you remember shit one way, you just remember it that way. But you ain't gonna force nobody to remember things the way you remember it, because they may remember it completely different. And it may not even be that important to them. But then, in all of that, you miss, the most important thing is that we are growing as a species. Our consciousness is rising. There's something opening up inside of us that allows us to see things, to see changes. Whether they happen, with the blink of an eye or over time. Whether it be spiritual, physical, emotional, or in the structure and the things in the communities and the buildings around us. We grow in response, to better see and articulate these changes to anyone who would listen. But in the end, we only listen to each other to see if one of us got new information or a better way of dealing with these things, or to make a new dent, to leave a mark in a new universe, or, to, monitor and see if there's reason for the changes and meaning behind them. Different parts of the Bible was changed, the written word, what could affect that, in the books that you own, kept inside of your home. So we see these changes, and we know them to be true. You don't need nobody to convince you. So then you pass that point. Then you start to search. Because this is a massive effect that covers everything that, we knew to not be possible, but now seems to be possible. So now the impossibilities of life is out the window. And now you start to see that, okay, well, incredible things are possible, but, are there limits? What does it all mean? How much does it affect? And then, once you get past the many different effects, can you open your eyes and say, well, what's the cause? You're listening to Dark Skies, news and information coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. Live. What's up, Compton, Watts, Inglewood, Long Beach, with the Union.
So much game for your mama, so fine. Bahama mamas dance on this anaconda. Our Father. It was said it's written on the collar. All the ladies wanna holler. Our Father. Make you wanna holler. Reckless or modern, guns for dollars. We in deep like a fucking otter. Used to magic like I'm Harry Potter. Our Father. I bite the pill until I can't feel. I live my life like a movie, but my life is real. My sex is real, my street life is real. I'm for real. All types of pills. Our Father, got the powder. See me, that means I'm jumping in and out of. I'm not Thor, but I bring the hammer. Bags like Santa. Praying Manta. Our Father, up in heaven. Our Father, up in heaven. Our Father, up in heaven. Married, no wedding. Our Father, up in heaven. Birthday, open up the presents. Our Father, up in heaven. Our Father, all fathers.
Of course, I'm your host, Delcy Grace, and, the guy that you hear on the MIC. I mean, it's incredible. But what we see is what we want to see. Some of us resist, the truth, even though the truth is staring you right there in your face. I mean, the Mandela effect is a subject that I've covered many times. I mean, I tell people, look, the Scarecrow has a gun. Is that not enough, for you to, go dig into this subject? Why the Scarecrow got a gun? I mean, nobody won't give you a good answer. I mean, he's always had a gun. The Scarecrow, he has a gun. Like, what? How could you even say that? I mean, the Scarecrow's always had a gun. The Scarecrow, he has a gun. Like, what? I mean, I have, a clear memory of the Scarecrow being the motherfucker that didn't have a ring, right? But this the one that has the gun? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but even in a nonsensical universe, we, develop blockers, blindness, And I call it stupidity blind. You're too stupid, so you're blind. Now, anybody who has a rational brain, they would look at this and say, okay, it doesn't make sense because the Scarecrow, clearly didn't have a brain. He was, brainless. That was one of the things that, he wanted from the journey. He wanted to go to Oz and, ask for a brain because he wanted to be smarter. It makes perfect sense. Scarecrow, no brains. But, got a gun. And I'm like, well, where did the gun come from? Because, the whole thing that made the story of the Wizard of Oz magical is because it took you away from the real world. The real world where, there were bad people with guns. The whole Wizard of Oz was a magical journey. It took you to a place that, was beautiful. Once they, got into the, the color and they hooked it up. I mean, it was, imagined by, a person that, clearly didn't want guns in Oz. I mean, if that was the case, everybody in Oz, should have had a gun. I mean, the least likely motherfucker that you would have ever thought, would be allowed to touch a gun, was walking around with one. And it's not alarming to people. I guess it was normal. It's like a new universe, but at the same time, a new attitude. An attitude of acceptance. Nobody questions anything. Everything just is. And if it changed, then it still just is. No big deal. It's Starbucks coffee. But it used to be Starbucks. But nobody, like I said, really paid no mind. Is not registering on any level of consciousness. I mean, most people think mandela-effect and, it's just something that happened a while back. People forgetting shit or something like that. Like, no. What? No. It's more than that. It's more than people just forgetting shit. Misremembering. That was just a new word. I mean, that's worse than me, Mikey, when I, just be, monologuing and I might, drop a new word. But misremembering? I ain't never misremembered shit. I mean, that just doesn't even sound like something people do. I misremembered my way to work. Like, huh? So you got lost? I don't know. Like, what are you trying to say when you say that? It's almost insulting. But at the same time, why be insulted by the stupid? By the blind. I can tell you, look out for that bus. You don't believe me, you don't listen. You get hit by the bus. Whose fault is that? It might be the driver's. I mean, we don't know. I mean, it's all in the air. I mean, the universe, judges us on, I guess, I don't know. Because, if you think about how much stuff is done, how many people do horrible things that we would consider dark, crimes against humanity. I mean, but at the same time, I guess people are like, I guess. It just doesn't register, if it's not affecting you. I mean, and if it's affecting you, then I guess you kind of just let it happen. I mean, most people just give up. Like, I guess. Like, what? Like, what happened to standing up? They tried, I guess. You see a lot of protests and stuff like that. But, even with protests, what's actually being protested? And is it real or is it just, somebody trying to make a political statement? I mean, who really fights for your rights? tell you your rights. I mean, I spend so much time telling people that, you know what, you have a right to do this. But it's a brave new world. We spend so much time adjusting our lives to, what other people think. But it's really only matters like what we see and how we take all this information in and what we do with it and the time that we give it. It becomes.
Baby girl, you do something to me. You get me later on, baby girl, we'll make a movie. Just me and you, we can get a room. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's me and you, that makes 2. Later on, individuals in the room. That's together, baby. Me and you, about to go crazy. I wanna see your legs to the ceiling, baby girl. I'm about to make a killing. I'm about to get all up in it. Now, baby girl, eating spinach. I'm going to the finish. Me and you, baby, all in it. Later on, this crazy though. Make a lady though. You my lady though. My lady. In the West End. Me and you and your best friend. That's the last time. It's okay, baby. This is how we drop. Drop like I'm supposed to. Baby girl, it ain't nothing come close to. Me and you, chillin' too. Like, this is how we do. Meet in the West End. Me and you and your best friend. Meet in the West End. Me and your best friend. Meet in the West End. Me and you your best friend. We meet at the West End. Me and you your best friend.
Traffic and everything, but it doesn't matter because we are together. You know what I mean? We force ourselves to, migrate. Move through the city, and this is definitely my city. I mean, I'm, the voice of the people. From Springfield. What's up, Arizona? We got Tempe, Phoenix. We also got Utah. I love my people in Chicago and definitely Georgia. I mean, it's nice to see St. Louis and Virginia, North Carolina, the tri-state area, New York, Philadelphia. I mean, we are, mandela-effect. I mean, how much has been affected, how many people has been affected, and what does it all mean? I mean, I tackle the subject often, and will not stop until, we get a definite answer, or we get the type of attention, from the Senate and from the leaders of the world, the people in the UK, what's up, Parliament, we can, get a little support from the French, from the Germans. I mean, everybody was affected. What's up, South America? Where you been at? Venezuela? I mean, Brazil. I mean, the Dominicans, the Belizeans. I mean, you people should, really be checking in. I mean, all up and down Africa, Cape Town. Where you at, Cape Town? I mean, Gambia. I mean, there's some very smart people who can actually help on this subject. People over in Geneva. What's up, Switzerland? I know where the smart people are. I mean, get y'all gravitate towards this subject, and let's get some, real science and spiritual, leaders to, dab into this subject. Don't just leave it to L.C. Graves. But I do, accept all challenges, and being the people's champ, I will, aggressively tackle this subject, and I will not stop until I can give you an honest answer. Like, hey, this happened. This is when it happened, and this is why it happened, and this is what we hope to do going forward. As a community, and that's how you do it. We all talk, we come together, we share knowledge, and we develop a consensus. That way, we can all move forward and together in the same direction. In the city of angels. I don't know, I like doing the night shows because I just feel more relaxed. So, I don't know. Gotta do more night shows. But the day shows are cool. I mean, we do what we do. But stay tuned. I mean, we got a weekend coming up. So, if I was you, I would expect more shows. From Dark Skies, news and information, the number one podcast in the entire multiverse.